Dun 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 dun. Ba-ba-doo-ba-doo, ba-ba-doo-boo. It's Wednesday night. It's time for the show.
Are we there yet?
We're sorry.
Oh, we're there yet. We're there.
Are we singing our own theme song tonight?
No, not at all. I'm just singing. I'm in a fairly good mood, actually. I feel much better than I did last week.
Well, the past couple of weeks were certainly rough for everybody around.
I
Yes.
feel a whole lot more like I do right now than I did when I first got here.
Must be the beer
Huh?
and the popcorn. He's doing a little wordplay.
I got asked today at the bus by one of the kids what I dressed up for as Halloween. I told him I just went as myself, only taller. Because I cosplay as me.
Unfortunately, my kiddo is sick, so we didn't get to do Halloween last night.
Just go buy a bag of candy.
Oh, I did today, but thankfully Sunday there was a trunk or treat and she wasn't sick yet. So we had taken her to that. So it's not like her costume went to waste or anything.
Well, that's cool. What'd she go as?
She went as Sky from the Paw Patrol.
Nice. I had Supergirl, Lego Batman, and a zombie.
We had 0 trick-or-treaters.
Really? Our
I had
neighborhood was
one.
like
I don't
outrageous.
think I've had a trick or treater in 3 years.
I live on a second story. It can't happen.
Just throw candy out the window. No,
Yeah,
we
like-
are.
like
Yeah, I was
Mardi
amazed.
Gras.
Yeah, our neighborhood, which normally is very, very quiet on Halloween, was monstrously it was inundated with children.
Probably because they're like, we need to get out there now.
Well, a lot
next
of
year we
families
won't be
have
able
moved
to.
into the neighborhood. A lot of families with young kids have moved in. And next year, the school bus stop is probably going to be like 30 kids.
Well, I don't know about where you are, but I know in Wilmington, a lot of people will leave their neighborhoods and drive into specific neighborhoods to trick or treat.
Well, I'll tell you what, there was at least 3 people handing out full-size candy bars. So ours was the neighborhood to go to.
Oh, you know why they do that, right? Do that because one of those that are all dressed up, is probably Death stalking them, and if you give him a full-size Snicker bar, he's going to be like, you know what, we're good. I'll come back next year. Didn't realize that Death's one weakness is Snicker bars.
Really? I did not know that.
You
It's a
learn
little
something
known
new
secret.
every day.
How do you think some of those ladies stick around? Here, there's even a picture of it.
Is that why Betty White is alive? Because she just hoards Snickers bars?
I believe we need to play an opening still.
No,
We
see.
do.
We will, but see, there, we've got evidence. Not here. I'm not wearing a costume. I'm here to take your soul. Holy crap. Full-size Snickers?
Never mind, Margaret. We're good. That's good. Oh,
Margaret knows where it's at. But yes, I guess we should probably do the official opening and everything.
yes, we should. All right, let's do that opening. We will be back 60 seconds. Until
Roll
we
that
come back.
beautiful opening footage.
Enjoy this. Enjoy the wonderful music.
The following podcast is intended for mature audiences. The opinions expressed do not reflect this station or any affiliated partners. Listener discretion is advised.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Geek EZ.
Just talking? Well, what's the show about? It's about nothing.
Well then.
Out of
Hey, look.
curiosity,
I'm just going to leave that up so people know. The following podcast, I'll just leave the bright red thing up. How's that?
my
There we go.
eyes. It burns.
Well, let's
Okay.
see. We're Sans Roland and we're Sans Alistair.
Yeah, he's lost and trying to find his destiny.
Trying to find his destiny. Oh, you know what? What we were talking about off air will probably end up getting dragged into the conversation anyway because of the Orville conversation we're going to have. Even though, Tank, you haven't seen it, there's really, I'm trying to think, spoiling it wise.
It was creepy.
It was creepy. I will give it that.
It honestly reminded me of something. What is that British show that's been out? The Black Mirror or something? That does a lot of tech style Twilight Zone type stuff.
There's really not much to spoil just because of the way the story unfolds. It is definitely a mirror.
It's not like a character development.
No, not at all.
My biggest qualm with it is I thought they picked the worst possible character to try and make people feel sorry for.
True.
He hasn't shown much personality, and that episode didn't help.
Yeah, I guess I would agree with that. Yeah,
I would definitely agree with that one. But spoiling wise, it was the mirroring of the social media age that they did, and they took it, and it was basically social media on crack, where the court of public opinion is the only court there is.
Essentially, it was if Athens survived the modern day.
Yeah, true democracy.
Planet-wide, apparently, or at least nationwide, on like an American type scale. To the point where they didn't know what a lawyer was.
Yeah, and it shows that now. It's funny. It's watching that. It's clear that the writers and Seth MacFarlane's the producer on it and stuff. And then I'm going to get political a little on this one, okay? In this because it is it's a political hot topic right now because social media is politics at this point. That's what it's become, and the Seth MacFarlane is a liberal person. He's never been quiet about his standings. He's not shy about it at all. But there are times where it still amazes me because he's not the shut up, I'm right all the time kind of liberal that there are some out there that do that. Because if he did, he wouldn't have people like Rush Limbaugh on Family Guy and things like that. He's willing to understand or willing to listen and even joke around with these people to a point. I'm sure he wouldn't have like Jones on his show, but he had Rush Limbaugh, and Rush Limbaugh is a pretty loudmouth conservative.
Maybe he does it though because of who he works with, and maybe he's not getting choices. Who knows?
But even then, this show had it was so dead center. There was no this or that. It was this. It was like you're all wrong.
Yeah. I think this is. It's very hard to have a true political tilt to what that episode is about, simply because the whole point is that there's no sides overall because each topic is handled individually.
Well, what I found interesting though was that all of the people that he had to go see on the apology tour had a definite opinion, and they were skewing the numbers by pushing a certain slant to the story.
Yes, so it was basically a slap in the face to all media.
Well, they pretty much admitted that the apology tour wasn't really about apologizing, because his agent or whatever, the guy instead of his lawyer, talks about, honestly, I've never seen anybody come back from numbers like these. It's one of those momentum things. It reaches a certain point where if so many people have disliked something, people are going to dislike it just because.
Yeah, just out of turn, sure. But it was, but I noticed they definitely created a case where all of these talk shows that he was put on had already formed an opinion and were practically telling the audience what to think.
Yep.
But doing it very subvertly, which was really interesting.
I find it really interesting given what channel it aired on and what their news branch likes to do.
No, Fox News and Fox Channel are two separate entities, dude.
They are and they aren't. They didn't used to be. They're still both part of News Corp, aren't they?
They're still together. They do behave differently, but it's one's more the mouthpiece for.
But you know what?
Others, though.
As someone who I consider myself centrist, but I lean on the conservative side, more court or conservative on a lot of things, but they all do it, dude. Whether it's Fox, CNN, MSNBC, it's all the same game. And I
don't think you
that's
heard
what
anybody say otherwise.
Yeah, and that's what he was pointing out. It's like just be careful who you're listening to, that kind of thing. It's like make your own opinion, don't let someone make it for you, that kind of thing. Which I found like fascinating. I was like, oh my God. And it's really sad that the Orville has been more on it in what, 7 episodes? When it came to doing what Star Trek did best, which was touching on social things.
Yes.
Than Star Trek has. Star Trek, the new Star Trek series has come basically just generic sci-fi wrapped in Star Trek.
Yep. Sadly.
But we kind of called that early on.
Yeah. That's like this. There's no social. There's no. Enterprise started steering in that direction a bit, but they still touched on social issues here and there.
Well, I think they had another season that was a social issue. Like, they're going for revenge. They clearly were going for revenge, and then it's like, as time went on, like, and the pain of the incident died off. They're like, what we're doing, this isn't right. No, we shouldn't be doing it this way. We need to find a different way to deal with it.
But Discovery has not, in any way, shape, or form, done any of that. The only thing they've proven is that no one has made music in 300 years. Thank you, JJ Verse. Because I don't know about you, but when I go to a party, we're not hip-hopping to Mozart or Beethoven or... But a couple hundred years in the future, when you're on like whatever off duty and you got a party on a ship in the middle of nowhere, you're gonna listen in 2000 or like modern or what we consider modern day hip hop. That really bothered me about the episode.
That is classic. No, that is not classic. That is crap.
I mean, the whole Beastie Boys in the JJ verse stuff, the Kelvin verse, it was tongue in cheek, but I mean, it worked because again, they only used one song and it was considered a classic. But this party they had on the Discovery, they were listening to modern hip hop. And it was like, really? In 200 years, music hasn't evolved at all to where there's other kinds of dance music?
We know that they have done some music, but it was always, at least in Star Trek, say within TNG, even TOS, it was always more of that classical or unique.
TOS did do the hippie thing, and they did have. I mean, and it was a product of its time, so they had to throw in modern stuff. I understand that.
Well, other than the hippie thing on TOS, the modern music, like in terms of modern to TOS or TNG music that we've heard, is generally alien stuff, that semi-rockish stuff that human raised by the other race listens to in TNG, and then Spock's Vulcan lyre music on TOS.
Yeah,
but it's always some kind of like kind of classic-ish stringed instrument or flute or things like that.
Not what the Admiral's grandson listens to. It's like weird, like almost rock and roll, but like very cacophonous stuff on TNG. The kid that only listens to Picard or whatever because he's the captain.
Yeah, I remember that episode.
It was almost like
very short-lived.
It sounded like Japanese death metal to me.
Yeah.
No, Japanese death metal actually has some to it. What they were playing was just noise.
I just always found it weird on TNG that O'Brien was playing classical music with Data. That just doesn't seem like his sort of thing. And there's never any further mention of him having interest in music, even on DS9 where they have to find all this stuff for him to do when Keiko's gone. He never goes back to playing music that we see.
Huh. He would secretly go back to his quarters and throw in a Cranberry CD. Sorry, that was Irishist.
All I was playing in my head was, and there bombs, and there.
Other whites.
Hey, isn't that kind of what New York does?
Hey, get out of here. Oh, I'm sorry.
And there bombs, and there bombs. Wait a minute.
Yes. Oh, okay. But Wolfie, you stepped out. Did you hear me say make the comment about how Orville has touched more on social things than Star Trek has?
No.
In 7 episodes. I'm just saying. Realize it's only 7 episodes in, but they've already done 3 major, big social, almost hot button issues. They did a gender issue.
I mean, Discovery's done the tardigrade. They had a somewhat moral question, at least at the end of the Mud's first episode when Lorca leaves him behind, but it's not really the focus of the episode. The tardigrade is definitely a big moral thing, though.
True. Now, back to the tardigrade. Did you guys see the article about the science being debunked about that? No. And that people are still blah 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 blah, and there's a whole lot of harumps about it and all that kind of stuff because someone, I mean, the whole idea that tardigrades can join DNA into their system is pseudoscience. It's not real.
Star Trek is not
real.
That's
what people are saying. Oh, it's science fiction.
There's no all connecting mushroom spore network all over the galaxy either.
That we're aware of.
That we're aware of. Again, I mean, I have no but the spore drive. I think it's an odd choice of thing to do, especially when you set it in a timeline when we know that it never goes anywhere. It's like it's a MacGuffin that doesn't need to be there.
I'm seeing a lot of MacGuffins like that just waste a lot of time, and they're like filler. They're fluff, and they never go anywhere or do anything.
GNDN.
So it begs, where are we going and what are we doing?
See, to me, other than TOS, because there's only 3 seasons to begin with, and it's not the first season of TOS that's super bad. This is still probably the best first season so far of any of the more modern Star Trek series.
My only issue is there's just a lot of generic sci-fi in it. And I realize it's hard 50 years down the road from the original series with so much science fiction that has come out and so many ideas and so many different things that it's going to start to all muddy up. I realize that. But whereas aside from the fan nods and at times fan wank that goes on in Discovery, as well as Orville does it too. There's nothing aside from the name and some of the background characters, Vulcans, Klingons, and all that kind of stuff that I don't know. It's there, but it's not there yet. Again, they got a second season to wrap this up.
My big problem is the whole technologically augmenting humans thing. Like supposedly the black and white android looking thing on the bridge is an augmented human. That's very non-Star Trek-y to me.
It's also against the law in Star Trek.
No. Genetic augmentation is against the law.
Oh, but cybernetics are not?
They've never really addressed it. It's not
true.
That's what I'm saying. It's very non-Star Trek-y.
Because there's 2 characters with cybernetic implants.
The only time that cybernetic stuff has... No, there's 3 now. Okay. The only time that cybernetic stuff has come up in Star Trek is the Borg. And they're very much against it with the Borg.
True, because you lose your autonomy.
But they don't have a problem utilizing Seven and Icheb's, advanced capabilities once they have choice in the matter.
well-
Well, they also had no choice in the matter because they had to retain some of the cybernetics, just even so much to stay alive.
Yeah,
Yes.
I understand that, but they show no qualms about reprogramming her nanoprobes to do this or that and all
Because
this.
it was the perfect Mary Sue for the last 4 seasons. It was she could do no wrong. Everything could be solved by her blasted nanoprobes. Dude, the last 4 seasons of Voyager, 80% of that show, every episode, she saves the day with some sort of Borg technology.
The other interesting thing is TNG doesn't really touch on it, but they imply that they get over the genetic engineering thing a little bit when they talk about how the common cold and all that has been removed
Yeah,
from.
But it's still illegal to genetically enhance a human being.
Hence Julian Bashir.
Yes, which is why they had the big tussle thing with him. But I don't know. I mean, again, the last episode I saw so many people praising, and I was like, it's kind of like how I feel about the motion picture, the Star Trek motion picture. Was it good? Yeah, it's watchable, but it was just a rehash of something that's already been done.
Going back to the augmentation thing, I mean, it's something they even avoided with the Dominion, which is weird because you'd think that the Dominion would try to, especially once the Jem'Hadar started falling short of performing certain tasks and everything, that they would start enhancing them with technology, and they
Oh, hell
never
no.
really did.
No, hell no, they wouldn't. They never would. That would go
Yeah.
completely against the whole point of the founders, what they created them for.
Yeah, they were created to be a subservient, always loyal kind of thing. You start throwing mechanics into there where the possibility of them changing.
You can guarantee loyalty with technology, though.
No, you can't. Somebody could come along and take over that with genetics. That they are what they are.
I don't
But
know. I wish I could
they
guarantee
did
loyalty. My computer would.
Combined with the genetics, you could guarantee loyalty. I mean, and look at the Borg. The average drone is 100% loyal because of technology.
Well, wait.
Until
here
they're
you
freed
go.
from it.
Until they're free from it. But then again, think about on a modern aspect of it. Is your computer loyal to you no matter what?
Hell no, my computer's a son of a bitch.
There you go. My
Your
computer
computer's
is
out
the
to-
same way.
Your computer's
One
out to break
virus,
down.
and all of a sudden it's out of your hands. That's all it would take.
Granted, one virus against something that's using the same genetic code should wipe out the Jem'Hadar too, except that my understanding is that their DNA was actually fairly dense and resilient as hell.
Well, my biggest issue with the whole genetic aspect of the Jem'Hadar, and I just watched the episode where the Alpha Quadrant Jem'Hadar premiere, is it goes against what the founders have programmed into the Jem'Hadar and the Vorta, in that they're programmed to believe they're infallible. So why would they need to update the genetic code of the Jem'Hadar to match Alpha Quadrant species?
They do that because areas are different. What works over in the Gamma Quadrant may not work exactly the same in the Alpha Quadrant. So,
But if the founders are gods, they should have known that and prepared for it.
they did. That's why they created the Alpha Jem'Hadar.
But they shouldn't have needed to create the Alpha Jem'Hadar if they're truly gods.
We already know they're not gods.
Oh dear Lord,
But what
dude.
I'm saying is that the Vorta and the Jem'Hadar are taught that they're gods and that they're infallible.
Yes.
And the founders know they're not, but they don't care because they don't have to pretend they're infallible. They just have to tell them, we came up with a better idea. We need you guys to do this. And they will, no question about it, do it. Outside of the one batch of rebels, apparently that has happened a few times with the Jem'Hadar, but they rebel because, you know what, screw you guys. You obviously have no use for us. We're going to do, we're going to go reclaim our lives.
If they're infallible, there are no better ideas.
You don't fall under dogma very well, do you?
I'm just pointing out.
Yeah, you're a thinking human being. Yes, I'm talking when you're talking to somebody who is that entrenched into, I guess the cult.
Bred into you.
But
dude.
apparently they're not that entrenched into it, or they wouldn't need to be given Ketracel White.
That just keeps them alive.
And they know
No,
that.
it also ensures their loyalty.
Yes, because they would die without it.
Because you're looking at when you're looking at the Jemadar, they're a warrior race. Their passions are going to be inflamed by combat. There are going to be times where they're just going to want to kill you. They're going to kill the warrior. They're going to kill me. They'll kill themselves. They don't care. Well, if they have something that forces them to kind of restrain themselves, well, now that's not such a bad thing now, is it?
Anyways.
See, I was always under the impression that Ketracel White was there to keep them in line.
It pretty much is.
Yeah.
And if they stop taking it, well, they are going to lose their minds and go berserk.
And it was withheld from them if they stepped out of line.
Right. So
But
how much do they really need it? Is it like heroin?
No, it kills them if they
kills
don't get it. They don't eat or drink.
Because they don't need to. They've got everything in the Ketracel White. But after a few days of not taking it, they literally become berserkers and they will murder everything.
And then die.
But see, that's why it doesn't make sense to have the threat of withholding it over them, because when you withhold it, you lose your hold and you create a berserker.
You've never dealt with people who are that addicted, have you?
I have, but I'm not going to get into it.
Well, my point being is that when you have somebody who is that tied to a thing, that that addicted that they must have it, they will do anything.
Yeah.
And
we're all the way out here in Deep Space Nine when we started on Orville and Discovery. We never even finished with those, really.
I've been watching a lot of DS9.
That's fine. And you know what, though? I was just thinking the comparisons of DS9, Enterprise, and Discovery, because they all have war stories. We haven't seen much of the war on Discovery. They keep talking about this war that's going on, but Discovery has been in one battle.
Well, apparently there's other things, skirmishes and whatnot going on, and we apparently have seen some hints of, let's see, both the Enterprise and the Defiant now.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, fun. I sure would like to see some of that stuff.
Yeah. Give me Spock.
I suspect
that would be nice, actually.
So that was an Andorian helmet Mudd was wearing, right?
I don't know.
It certainly looked Andorian.
The whole magic time thing from the fourth dimensional aliens. Serious?
The time thing didn't bother me so much as the massive change in Mudd's character.
Well, yeah, there is that.
The Mudd we encountered on TOS and TAS wouldn't just shoot random people and stab them in the back and stuff.
Well, you also have to remember the TOS version of Mudd has had, after this version of Mudd, will have been browbeaten for 10 straight years. Henpecked to the point of complete and utter just kill me.
But we know that's not 100% true because he still, I think, has 2 more appearances this season.
Yeah. True, but did I like the way he portrayed him?
Every time I think of her, I venture further out into
And man, Stella does not age well.
No, not at all. 10 years since she looked like that.
That woman looks at least twice that girl's age on TOS versus Discovery.
True.
And about a third as attractive.
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, I was kind of hoping they would find somebody a little closer to the other actress.
The hair and the body type were right, but she doesn't. She's a smotherer, but she doesn't look like a screecher, and she doesn't sound like a screecher.
Oh, that comes with time.
Now, but
you better hope Jodie's
I'm gonna here, since we're talking about this, and
let me clarify. I'm talking about my first wife.
Okay. Yes, true. I can do the same thing. I'm going to turn down. I'm going to make a left-hand turn right here. We're going to come right back to this road, but I just want to stop here at the gas station. Speaking of casting and getting things to look right, did you see the latest continues?
Oh my God!
I saw the daughter thing.
Oh,
I saw the clip
dude!
of
When
that.
she first appeared on screen, my jaw hit the floor.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Between the makeup and the similar genetics, yeah, it's impressive.
Oh my God! I was like, it's her. I was like, that
Right?
was incredible. But that's neither here nor there.
Way more impressive than what Chris Doohan versus Jimmy Doohan.
True.
Apparently,
I mean,
I'm
he
not
did-
following.
Star Trek Continues.
No, never watched it. So
Okay, you should watch it. It's a really good fan series. The and actually, it's the. I mean, well, you don't like the original series, so it's just a continuation of the original series. They cast the daughter of, remember the Romulan commander, the female Romulan commander from the Enterprise incident?
Mhm.
Okay, they cast her daughter to play the same character. And her daughter visually looks so much like her mother that in makeup, it's freakish, dude.
People thought it was CG at first.
It was so well done.
I mean, now the still that was posted, it's obvious, but yeah, the little clip of it I watched, yeah, it's almost creepy.
Yeah, she's got the nuances that her mom threw at that role. I mean, she's just really good at it. So, and yeah, so if you get a chance out there, anybody listening, go watch Star Trek Continues, because their last episode comes out, what, in 2 weeks?
Yeah, the 12th, I believe.
Yeah, they're gonna tie it all up, and it's done and over with. But now back to a regular, real Star Trek, and CBS produced Star Trek and Orville and stuff. The Orville, the Court of Public Opinion Orville, dangerously hits things on the head. Discovery still up in the air for me. Still up in the air.
Not for me. Not for me. I'm done.
Yeah, it's you know what though? I have no love for Burnham. Nothing. They could literally
I got
suck her out
nothing
of an
for
airlock.
anybody.
It's like throw her out of an airlock. I wouldn't care. Lorca's maybe just a tad bit interesting. Saru is the only character I want to see more of.
You got to remember, despite 7 years on the Shenzhou or whatever, this is the first time her humanity has been pushed.
Been there, done that, seen that. 4 seasons of Voyager.
But this is...
It's not 7 of 9.
But it's not. It's the exact same thing, though. It's that whole... It's a human who doesn't know how to be human thing.
But unlike 7, who really didn't want to be at first, Burnham does want to be. She just literally has no idea what she's doing.
True. I'll give you that one. But I mean, this other guy, Tyler, whatever, dude. It's like, again, airlock, I would have no qualms.
I don't know. I thought his little speech about the war said a lot about him.
Yeah. And Tilly,
oh, I love Tilly.
I steer clear of people like that in real life.
Too bubbly.
But she's the most human character on the entire show.
And I don't like people.
I'm not so sure about being the most human. She great.
She does, dude. She is like a cheese grater across the back of the neck.
Yep.
To me, I don't know. I like her. I mean, I guess because in actual face-to-face interaction, I mean, I'm not that awkward, but I can be difficult at times.
Everybody can be difficult at times. This is somebody who is non-stop difficult, grating.
Yeah.
And the thing is that
obviously not considering. Well, you didn't see the episode, but there was a guy that was ready to stick his tongue down her throat just because she got near him in this last episode. She was
drunk.
But she wasn't that drunk. She was just teasing him.
True. Either way.
Point being is that for somebody who's gone through training and such, they think that they would have learned to tone it down. Even cadets that we've run across typically can be a little bit more restrained. And this one is like, there's no restraint whatsoever. This is freaking Wesley Crusher again.
Yeah.
Did you ever deal with West Point cadets doing their service tours in the military?
Yes.
God, the ones I had, all of them were so tillyish in a way.
And the ones we had were actually pretty restrained, oddly enough.
Well,
because they sensed that we didn't care.
I never met a cadet. Did meet graduates like right fresh out of boot.
No. There's a big difference between graduates, especially out of boot, and cadets.
Oh yes, huge difference.
Okay. Because
Now,
either way,
I will say the one way that cadets are restrained is even though, as enlisted, we're supposed to treat them like officers. Unlike once they actually get fully commissioned as an LT, cadets know they don't know shit.
Yeah, right.
They forget that somewhere along the line, but they know in that moment that they don't know shit.
Right, there's that R-rated.
That's still P-13. I laugh because I mean, what I thought it's like you say cadets. I have never actually met a cadet in the military. I've met boot camp graduates, like literally, like 2 days after boot finished. And what blew my mind, they were Marines. They were all Marines.
Boots. Those are boots.
I know. But it cracked me up. My sister graduated, and she came home.
Marines are a different beast.
Yes.
Well, it blew my mind, dude. There were 5 guys, all wearing uniforms, same haircut, everything the same, and they literally were the exact same personality. The 5 different guys.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. That's what the Marines do. By the time you graduate Marine Basic, you are almost not human anymore.
They scared me, and then once I told them because they kept calling me sir. Like, guys, I'm only 3 years older than you.
The Army
call me sir.
The Army breaks you down to a point and then rebuilds you. The Marines break you down to nothing and reprogram you.
Getting them, but once they loosened up, and because I would joke around, they loosened up a bit, and they realized they were on their best formal behavior because they were meeting a friend's family and stuff. And I was like, guys, come on, we all put our light pants on the same way, and it's all good. Chill, just relax, have fun. It's like, who's 21? Who can have a beer? Who can't have a beer? We're all good. Everybody sit, relax, have fun. And once the walls came down, they eased back. But when I first met them, I was like, oh my God, you're all the same guy.
Oh, yeah, that's actually normal.
I'm not going to lie. I mean, after basic, I found myself standing at parade rest talking to like my parents and stuff. And it took me a little bit to get out of that. But yeah, I will say with Marines, it's very different. They just take it to a whole nother level in terms of what they do to them in basic.
I've got my family of Marines.
Yeah.
See, cadets are weird. Because while it's 4 years of military indoctrination, cadets, after a few months, they're allowed to party. They're allowed to leave the academy on the weekends and everything. So it's different by the time they get around to being around other people.
Yeah, and in any case, when it comes to the Marines, yeah, those are boots when they're out. If you ever read Terminal Lance, the guy there explains it very thoroughly. You are a boot. Stop being a boot. And it's everything about that is a completely different mentality. But
I love Terminal Lance. I mean, I don't recognize all of it since I wasn't a Marine, but it's amazing how much of it crosses over to the Army.
Yeah, totally. Anyway, what I was getting, the whole thing, calling you sir and whatnot. Yeah, we do that too. It's a military thing. You always refer to civilians as sir or ma'am. Period. And that's just the way it is.
Well, it's a little more ingrained with Marines because Marines call upper enlisted sir, or at least drill sergeants. They call them sir.
And then that's just weird.
It is. It creeps me out.
Sir, yes, sir.
We never did that. It was always drill sergeant. Yes, drill sergeant.
Yeah. If you called a drill sergeant sir, you were about to have a bad time.
And you can earn that one.
You're gonna have a bad time.
The infight, well, not infighting, but the in-ribbing that goes on between the branches. The anecdote I remember hearing, I'm not sure how true the anecdote is. It was from a Marine friend of mine who made the comment that he was on a naval base, and I guess even in the Navy, the Marines are it's like one of those. Well, he was in the PX. And he was picking some stuff up.
BX.
And whatever. Either way, I know it is the BX. I was never in the military.
PX is Army. No,
PX is Army. Air Force and Navy are BX.
Fine. He was in the BX.
You get it right, sir.
I'll get it right. Well, he overheard because a little girl had asked him why his uniform was different than everybody else's. He says, because I'm a Marine. I'm not in the Navy. And she looked at him and goes, why are you on a Navy base? Because, well, technically we're part of the Navy. And just like he said, this little girl could have been more 5 or 6 years old. And she turned to her mother and says, "Mommy, how come the Marines are part of the Navy?" And the mother looked him dead in the eyes while she said, "Because the Army got the dogs." I was like, wow, she said that? He's like, yep. I was like, dude.
It's really weird because the Marines are technically part of the Navy, but they're their own branch at the same time. It's so confusing.
It's a sub branch of the Navy. But keep in mind, their paychecks always says Department of the Navy.
Yes.
And they hate it when you point that out. I love doing it.
And they train on naval bases and they teach on naval bases and stuff like
Not
that.
always. They do train on Army posts.
True, they do.
We had them show up at Fort Hood.
Either way. Well,
I think it bugs the Marines that the Air Force got to be their own full branch.
Probably.
I think it bugs everybody else just because their boot is supposedly so much easier.
Let me put it this
way.
They've
tightened up, but not much.
Let me put it this way. At least when I was in, the Air Force PT standards was more about things like heart rate than run 2 miles in this particular amount of time.
We saw something when we went down to Florida this past summer. On the way back, we had to stop at one of these huge truck stops, and there was about a dozen buses or more, charter buses, and there were young Marines fresh out of boot getting off these buses.
Oh boy.
Must have been 1,000 or more of these fresh young guys, and man, were they sharp and stiff. I mean, just really stiff. And as each one of them entered into this big convenience area, you know, the hat came off, man, and when they came back out, the cover went back on. And they were all just very straight and upright and handsome and just perfect examples of what military should look like. And Jody and I just stood there and went, wow. I mean, it was really impressive.
The easiest way I can explain the difference between the Air Force and the rest of the branches of service is the Air Force will pay you if you live too far from the dining facility.
I don't know if that's the case anymore. They've tightened down on a lot of things. I guess their PT standards got a little more strict.
I don't know,
which means they probably have to get off the bike chair.
When I was in the Army, I spent my first year overseas on Kunsan Air Base, and there were Air Force barracks on the base where they lived more than a mile from the dining facility, so they got BAS. They got paid extra so they could go buy food instead of having to walk to the dining facility. And that was with an on-post bus that was free, that went straight to the dining facility. That's all I can say about one of my experiences with the Air Force.
Yeah, that's definitely a different beast. And what do 3 up and 3 down mean to you?
End of an inning.
I was going with a different route with that. I was thinking, what's 11 up and 3 down?
That's a line from Good Morning Vietnam. What do 3 up and 3 down mean to you? End of an inning.
Yeah, it's been a while since I watched that, and frankly, we never said that, but I've heard many times how good are you at your math? I'm pretty good at it, Drill Sergeant. All right, what's 11 up and 3 down? 8 up. Do you ever feel that way? Shit.
All right. Well, like I said, we went off on a tangent for 15 minutes there. I wanted to keep the show short.
Oh, it is short.
Yes.
Because we really don't have a whole lot to cover.
Don't. Aside from, I'm about ready to start punching my computer screen. Every time I turn around, someone's trying to spoil Star Wars, and I'm laughing because no one has gotten anything. It's the rumors and the rumors and the rumors. It's like at least Thor comes out next week or tomorrow. And then Justice League in 2 weeks, so I have to stop listening to the crap being spout about them, about what's going to happen, because it's like, guys, just watch. What happened to just watching the movie?
Oh, yeah, I had to skip a Thor article because it was going to spoil, apparently, some big guest appearance.
I don't know. It's just like,
what do you think I avoid a lot of the trailers and such?
What is the point in doing that? That whole thing is, I know something you don't know.
That's exactly it. But the problem is, half the stuff out there, it's like they're just making it up as they go. It's like, shut up already and just wait for the movie to come out. You got a month and a half.
An inside source says
Yeah.
that Luke Skywalker is actually a cross-dressing transvestite.
Can't use that
Well,
word no
I
more.
will say the rumors of Luke being the bad guy are picking up steam.
Mm.
That's just stupid.
Well, it doesn't help that
we'll
Hamill was
see.
trolling everybody on Twitter.
Oh,
Hey,
especially when he was talking about how what they did with Luke upset him at first.
Well, no, but when the poster first got released, he goes, "Remember, the bad guy's always looming in the background."
Well, he also, if you remember in an interview a few months ago, talked about when he first read the script, he got really upset with what they were doing with Luke.
Yes. He said he would have gone in a different direction. I would think Ray would be the one to drop before Luke would. But again, I'm going to wait. I want to wait. I watched the trailers. It got me hyped.
And
It
the
got
other
me-
thing is, I don't put a lot of weight even in an
No.
interview like that when Hamill sounds like he's being serious. He's a master troll when it comes
Yes,
to
he
that
is.
stuff.
Now-
And he loves it. He takes such joy in screwing with the fans.
Oh,
It's
he absolutely
beautiful to
does,
watch.
yeah.
It's beautiful to watch.
He's a masterful troll. He really
Speaking
is.
of masterful troll, it's not even a troll. It was just a masterpiece of animation and voice acting. The latest little short they did for the Justice League action, where the Joker and the Trickster kidnap Mark Hamill and he's saved by Swamp Thing.
I posted that on my Facebook page. That's hysterically good.
I was like, I mean, I posted on the Geek EZ thing where it's like, have you ever heard a man have a conversation with himself? It's hilarious. It was so well done. I was like, except for, I mean, they really, what's the word I'm looking at? They made Mark Hamill like sexy. It's like, yeah, okay. The jaw's a little square, but I guess that's the animation side of it.
Yep.
But either way, I mean, I thought it was a genius piece of animation. But he is such a mean, because it's almost like a troll. It really was. He trolled the Joker and the Trickster and all that, and it's all him. What's a voice actor?
I love that he truly takes so much joy in what he does. He gets that his success is a complete thing of luck. Not that he's not skilled, but he understands that he's in an industry where people can decide not to like you for literally no reason whatsoever.
Yep. Now, that being said, the other thing that's coming up that I keep seeing popping up, and it makes my skin crawl. Aside from all the public opinion court things that's going on right now, dealing with Hollywood, that's as much as I'm going to say, is the other aspect of people not liking actors or a film because of political stances. I adore Mark Hamill, even though if we were to have a conversation about politics, we are on the exact opposite spectrums.
For me, it comes down to how somebody expresses it, because there are even actors that probably align with me fairly well politically that the way they express it puts me off.
You know, like regular people.
Or George Takei.
George doesn't bother me.
George used to be funny about it. He used to have a tongue in cheek. He was witty. Now he's just a grumpy old man sitting on his front porch with a hose.
I'd
He
say
really is.
that's an apt description. Yeah.
I remember when George Takei could do and say things in a very poignant way, but it was funny, it was engaging, and it was eye-opening. Now it's just basically him pissing all over Twitter.
So somebody forgot it was Wednesday.
We were wondering.
Whoops.
But
Did you
either
find
way,
your
I mean,
destiny?
even Hamill, I mean,
And roll the end credits.
yeah, I will never ever stop watching film. I will not. I mean, it's like, oh, people complaining about, oh, social justice warriors on Star Trek. Dude, have you ever watched Star Trek?
See,
That's all I'm gonna say.
I understand. See, George, though, he has a couple of issues he's very specific about that are very personal to him, and I can understand where he's coming from.
True, I can understand it too. I can understand the anger. Believe me, I can understand the anger. I can understand the frustrations and stuff. But he's lost I don't know. It just, I mean, once he gained his following, he didn't have to. I guess he feels he doesn't have to entertain as much now as just yell. And it went from entertaining as well as informative and eye-opening to just yelling all the time.
Which
I don't know.
is
He
why
doesn't
I
yell
stopped
all the time.
following him.
He shares plenty of heartwarming stories.
Okay, I'll give you
And
that one.
puppy stuff and everything.
True.
And I think it should be pointed out that is it really wrong for him to have to do that when he is he's a minority in at least two different ways, and we know what happens with minorities, unfortunately, in this country.
True. I mean, and he did. He had a horrific time as a child. I mean, he was in an internment camp during World War II. I mean, it's a horrible thing to have gone through. And believe me, I can understand his angers on stuff. I'm not saying that. I'm talking about the other people out there and the stuff that I see. I mean, it's like Tumblr is like a cesspool. Twitter is getting there.
I think it depends on who you follow.
I don't even check my main Twitter anymore. I only use the one related to my retro gaming stuff.
Okay.
And that's almost nothing but retro gaming stuff in my feed.
It used to be mine was just all about Star Wars and Star Trek and sci-fi and stuff, but even then it started getting filled with stuff. And it was like, oh, stop. I just want, let me get away from real life for a second here. But I was watching. It's like people bitching about this actor or yelling about that one. And I'm not talking about anything that's going on in the here and now, right now in Hollywood. I'm talking about just in general, politics or personal views or what they said or who they said and who they went out with and all. It's like, really? It's like I mean, again, politically standing point, me and Patton Oswalt, different sides of the spectrum. But I think the guy's hilarious. And I'm not going to stop watching him and laughing at his jokes just because I don't agree with him politically. And the same thing I know, I'm sure, how many of you guys like Tim Allen?
I like him.
I liked him a lot more before his last show.
His last show was his last show was very political.
Yeah, see that's my thing. I don't have a problem with people that believe in politics, and I don't have a problem even if you put politics into your stuff, but it's the way you express it that bugs me. And he expressed it, especially on the last show, in such a way that was like, I'm right and nothing you say can possibly change that.
Yeah, but that wasn't Tim Allen. That was the character.
But it's a reflection of, but it's a reflection of his legitimate beliefs. He was, yeah. Tim Allen is very conservative.
He is.
Yeah, but even then, he knows
to
it
a
was
degree,
turned up.
it's a character.
Dude,
And
it was
this is the
notched up.
problem.
Even he will admit it.
Yes,
And
it
he has
was
admitted
notched
it.
up to make a point about
Yes.
these people that are too far over the top. That's what he was trying to portray, to make a point. And the thing is, everyone has a problem now separating reality from fantasy and understanding that it's just a show and it's just a character. Look at it, learn from it. What do you
Case in
get
point.
out of it? If
Case
you
in
don't
point.
like it, don't frickin' watch it, but don't run the guy out of his job either.
He didn't get run out of his job for his beliefs. The show got middling ratings almost its entire existence.
I don't think
Either
that's what
way.
he was talking about.
No, but either
Well,
way.
no, there's plenty of people that believe that show was canceled because of the right-leaning beliefs that it expresses or expressed.
Question. Okay, here we go. Question for you. If, say, Star Wars, which is never going to happen, or even Star Trek, were to throw a right-wing story into the mix or something that way aspect of it, because I mean the big screaming I hear now is, oh, all the SJWs are taking over Star Wars. I was like, no, they're not. Star Wars is still Star Wars.
The 3 prequels kind of did that.
Yeah, they did.
Well, and TNG, at least especially the early seasons, is actually more a representation of the Reagan 80s than anything super liberal in a lot of ways.
Okay, again, did you stop watching it?
No, it's like I said, it's all in about how it's expressed for me. I understand that people's political beliefs enter into their art and whatnot, and I don't have a problem with that as long as their outside personas don't preach to me.
Okay.
I'm very politically active, but I try never to preach beyond. I can get a little preachy if somebody says certain things, but I try to always remember that there's two sides to every issue. And so it doesn't matter if you agree with me or you're on the opposite side of me. If you start acting like you're 100% right and the other person can't possibly be right, I'll have a problem with you. It doesn't matter where on the spectrum you are.
Totally on that subject. How is there a rich person on Star Trek?
There shouldn't be anybody who's rich.
Stella's dad is a rich man.
Well,
because
civilians
it's
can't.
because the Federation has gotten rid of, money, but
The Federation hasn't gotten rid of money in the TOS era. They still were using credits.
They still use credits.
True.
But even in TNG, organizations they dealt with still used some sort of form of currency.
Aside from the Ferengi, yeah.
Well, not just the Ferengi, but there were all various different races that did a lot of trading, and they're gonna trade in some form of currency.
And the Federation, even in DS9, had some access to currency because Cisco has to pay Latinum to Quark as part of that bribe when his holographic specialist tries to kill Quark.
It's a fake. No, I just laugh because I mean, like I said, Tumblr and all these other things, and everybody's flipping out. Twitter's flipping out. Oh, they're doing this and this, that, and the other thing. And now I'm not talking about the ultra racist idiots out there that were complaining, or the ultra sexist guys out there complaining that Star Wars main character is a female now, or that there was a black guy in Star Wars, or that he's too. I mean, all this kind of. I was like, not that. I'm just talking about the other stuff. It's just like the little. It's become so. Everybody is so. It's like, what? Nobody's enjoying life anymore.
Well, Star Wars is fairly apolitical, but it's always had an underlying like anti-fascist thing.
Well, not underlying, dude.
It was pretty overt.
That was pretty overt.
No, I'm saying it's overt, but it underlines everything is what I'm saying. But yes. It's not. That's the most overt aspect of it. It's not really a leftist thing.
No, it's not, because it was a democratic thing they were going back for. They wanted back, and not like they were going for a socialist side or a communist thing. They wanted just democracy back.
In some ways, it's very libertarian, especially in some of the books, because even though there's the overall, New Republic, many of the worlds are still left to govern themselves and make a lot of decisions for themselves.
True.
It seems to me, Adam, you said something a few minutes ago about everyone just seems angry or miserable.
Yeah.
And I think what's going on is in the last 10 or 15 years, slowly, inexorably, media and other organizations have been teaching us to become hypersensitive to all these little things that prior to the beginning of whatever this is, we all just kind of learned to shrug things off and go, well, he's an a-hole. Or
I don't know about all that. I think it's more the fact that these days
it's been increasing over the years.
It has.
Sure,
but I think
it's more hypersensitive to every little thing.
Hold on. What I'm saying is that I think the reason for that is because it's much more at our fingertips. We have access to it now, and we can react on the spot, whereas before, where we'd get it sometime later, like, oh, well, and then we brush it off.
Well, no, I think unfortunately the problem is that in news coverage, especially, there's no money in moderates. Moderate Democrats, moderate Republicans.
Dude, that's been going on since at least the 50s.
Yeah,
but it's gotten worse.
The more sensational the story, that whole axiom, if it bleeds, it leads.
Yes.
Because like my political viewpoint is I'm fairly liberal, but I also understand that for a government to truly function, it needs to fall more in the middle. But
on some topics, it's straight up, no, it should be this. Like, for example, anti-Nazi, we should totally be that.
Some topics, yes. Some topics, there's not really two sides in that both sides are right. There's a right and a wrong. But what I'm saying is that generally in government, moderation is the key. And I'm saying this as a liberal who does believe that certain things, would love for a government to do certain things, but understands why it's not viable, which is a problem a lot of liberals have. They don't understand that a lot of the liberal ideals are not viable in actual governance, but that's another thing.
Oh,
It's
there's
just
a lot
that
of Republicans
sometimes
that think the same thing too, dude.
It's just that sometimes it feels like
Most of them are in Congress right now.
we're being deliberately made to feel miserable.
Well, that's what I'm talking. I'm not talking about politics. I'm just talking about
In
just
general,
where nothing is good enough.
everything is nitpicked. Nothing is good enough. No one can do anything right anymore. No matter how well you do it, you're criticized for it.
Well,
There's
Jim, that was
nothing
always
you can
there.
say up or down that won't get picked apart on some level.
Again,
And-
that's always been there, Jim. I mean, it's
I know, but
We're
there's
just-
But I
it's
think,
much
he's,
more
I think
prevalent.
he's right in that it's getting worse.
It
See,
is
the-
getting
worse.
The problem is that the internet allows, and you see this in everything, whether it's furries or politics or whatever.
furries in politics. Whoa.
No. Like, I'm making
That's the
a
name
point.
of the show, right
Furry
there.
politics.
a rather broad
It's much.
spectrum.
It is much easier now to find people that agree with you and
Yes.
tell you you're right and allow you to exist in a bell jar where you where you suddenly lose perspective and you've got so many voices agreeing with you and reassuring you on everything you say that you forget that there are other points of view that have to be respected. And so it causes a lack of moderation and it creates this divide.
Look
There's-
at Star
We've
Trek
discussed
and
that
Star
before.
Wars.
I think it also spills over into our educational system where the kids have had a lot of this over nurturing helicopter parents, all of that.
I think we need to move
Everyone
on,
gets
move
a
on.
Yeah.
participation
We need to move on.
trophy.
But
all that
keeping
kind of
it in the
stuff.
geek realm, look
And-
at fandoms.
Yeah.
Look at the
Echo
fandoms.
chambers.
Look how
Oh yeah,
used to
echo
be-
chambers. It's ridiculous.
look at you could be a Star Wars fan. You could find another Star Wars fan. You could talk. You can have fun, giggle, whatnot. This is 10, 15 years ago. You can have fun, even though it was. I mean, they might have liked TOS or TNG. Yes, those fights existed, but it was
Oh
still.
no, I will admit the Star Trek echo chamber has been cracked wide
Yes.
open by Discovery.
It's
And it is
You mean
good
reopened?
and bad
reopened,
at the
yes.
same time.
Oh no, or
Yeah,
sorry,
I would agree. I would agree. It's good and bad.
And
at
the prequels
same
did that
time.
with Star Wars, where it's like, oh, there's the purists, and everybody all of a sudden just got up in arms. I was like, you should just be happy you got a new freaking Star Wars movie, man.
Again, it's just people are now. You've got millions more people on the planet, which much more access to saying their piece, and they feel that they have an opinion that needs to be heard. Not everybody needs to be heard, as we say on a podcast, broadcasting to everybody on the planet.
True. Now I
Well,
gotta say, I
the
do
other-
enjoy.
and it's just like I'm thrilled that there's a new Star Trek on TV. Let's use our air quotes there, that it's on sort of TV. But I just don't like the wrapper that it has. So because I don't like the wrapper, I don't care to watch it. But those that are enjoying the hell out of it, good on you. Have
Awesome.
a ball. Have a ball.
I think one of the biggest issues is that people have forgotten that just because someone is screaming the loudest, it doesn't mean that other people share that belief.
Well,
I know.
there's that meme. Just because you're offended doesn't mean you're right.
Yes, and the internet has given a voice to everybody. Problem is, not all of those voices need to be heard.
Well, the other problem is that in an effort to listen to marginalized
As I sit here
voices,
talking on my podcast.
in an effort to listen to marginalized voices no matter where they fall, I think the media in general has invited these people on simply because they're loud, and they've forgotten that by inviting them on, they're implying to people that these aren't fringe people, and it gets lost.
Well, that's what you get when you bring furry politicians onto the
Yes.
shows.
Now, I will say it is nice to be able to go into some of these fan groups on Facebook and stuff like that. And amidst the crap that gets thrown out and how much this sucks or why this sucks or why that sucks and this is horrible and that sucks and this sucks, the one guy who posts up, he's like, you know what? I dig it all. Or I love this about this. Or I mean, there are people out there who don't get bogged down by it, who just like want to enjoy it, and it's awesome. And for the most part.
I will say I love Discovery. I understand why people criticize it. I've criticized some of it, but I don't understand these people that want to attack the people that don't like it or attack the people that like it.
I would never do that.
See, that's the thing. Jim, you and I really are on opposite ends on a lot of things politically. Yet we have never had a true fight.
No.
And I don't think we will.
No, and I don't think we will. We have a difference of opinion, but we understand where each of us stands.
We're also both
we
sensitive
respect
enough.
each other for their opinion.
We're both sensitive enough to when the other person is getting worked up to shut up and get out of the way.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. And
Yeah,
and
well,
no,
my
all
opinion
right.
is I hate you both.
I'm beginning to chafe, and I'm fresh out of baby powder. So,
And we're both sensitive enough to realize when we're personally getting worked up and we need to step back.
Yes.
Yeah, well, you're both wrong. Shut up.
Yeah, both of you, shut it.
Well, we always know Tank's always right. That's just what it is. He's a
Don't
tank.
make me validate the adult rating.
No, see,
That's right.
The
I'm
thing
always
is,
right.
I haven't started talking Discovery and having me and Alistair go at it. Then it gets ugly.
No.
It does
The one you
get
don't,
ugly.
the one you don't want to discuss Discovery with is Don.
True.
No.
Don doesn't understand people that don't like Discovery, and I don't get it.
Hey, Wolfie. Can we bring the volume down just a couple notches?
Yeah, you are really loud tonight, Wolf.
You are really loud, dude. It's like,
Sorry.
is the,
And we're
is the
trying to
moon
wrap
full?
up anyway.
No, my mount broke for my one mic, so I'm using my headset mic, and I think I'm just not used to having the mic right in front of me.
But I
That's
can
why
see
you
you
sound
jumping
different,
up
'cause-
and down in your chair, dude.
Can I,
should-
just for a
you
moment,
sound like
derail
you're
the
sitting at the
conversation,
other end of the room.
Go ahead,
but
jump
tonight
in.
you're clear.
You know how we always complain that cool stuff happens after the show?
Yeah.
You know how we always, and then we decided that we're going to cut the show down to an hour, even though right now we're not really listening to that?
Yeah.
A new teaser with all new stuff for Last Jedi just dropped. Normally it would be past us, but we are on the air as it happens.
But we can't play it because
Quick,
we'll get
to the
shot down.
YouTube.
Well,
The
we can't.
YouTubes.
We can't play it, but it's only 55 seconds long. So if Adam were to mute Teletran and then play something for 55 seconds over Teletran, that's something we're allowed to play.
No,
I can't even visualize it though.
no, I can't. No, I'd say let's
No,
all view it together after the show. Let's do that. I think we can hold our wad until then. Don't you think?
I'm watching it right now.
You were not prepared for that person in that place, were you?
No.
I'm not going to watch it.
I'm gonna wait till we're done.
See, this is why I'm not going to watch it.
What the hell was that?
Jesus Christ.
Damn you!
We haven't seen that in so long.
What the hell did you just become, Wolfie?
I think he became a 6-year-old girl.
Oh, this is a live reaction. Live reaction to
I'm
the Last Jedi teaser.
I'm sorry, I was not expecting that for some reason.
Sounded
Oh my
like
god,
he's-
that was so awesome.
He sounded like he sat on a cactus.
That or he's just standing in for Tade, because Tade, we know his reaction.
This right here. This is what I wish more people could do. 'Cause
Okay.
There are those out there that can watch this and be like, just like we were, where they're jumping up and down, everybody's into it, and then
Okay,
there's gonna be that one person
the end of the end of that was almost as shocking as what made me jump.
I stopped it in the middle, so don't say nothing.
I'm not.
I
You
want to
can
watch the
finish-
whole thing.
You can finish watching it. I'm not going to
I will.
say. I mean,
All right.
we've technically seen it before, but it's cut differently enough to show you that
Okay.
what we saw is one
Okay.
scene.
Well,
This-
back onto good stuff. Let's talk some good stuff. We got Thor coming out tomorrow.
Yay!
I'm gonna try and go see it.
My wife wants to go see it, so we're probably going to go see it tomorrow because she has to work for the weekend. So we're
I
probably going to
would
see it
wrap
tomorrow.
up.
be able
We are
to
going to
go
wrap up very soon.
Friday. I may be able to go see
next
it Friday.
week.
I'll definitely be able to see it Friday.
After Thor, maybe we'll even get together before then if we can, as long as nobody's working the weekend or anything.
When is Thor?
Thor starts tomorrow at 7 p.m.
After a workout.
I won't be able to see it until like Saturday.
Okay, well, then we'll still get to maybe we'll. I mean, because I would like it together, even if it's like
maybe
15, 20
Friday.
minutes.
Maybe Friday.
Okay. Well, we'll just keep in touch with each other on face stuff, and we'll find out.
Yeah.
But
On face stuff.
when that comes out, I would like next week to discuss Justice League a bit from what we've seen and the yays and the nays and the ups and the downs that people have. That I myself am excited for it.
When does it come out?
The 17th.
I have been on such a roller coaster with that movie.
I'm stoked. I can
I'm
hardly wait.
stoked for it. I mean, it's the DC fanboy in me. Yes, I use that word, and I am allowed to use that word. You can't use that word, but I can because I am a DC fanboy, born and raised, Justice League or Super Friends from the day one, baby. But
I grew up on Superman. I don't hate Superman. I still love Superman, but I'm a Green Lantern person.
me too.
I love
And
Green Lantern.
the
My-
fact that it seems like if Green Lantern's in the movie, it's like a pop in. I don't know that I can get excited until there's more Green Lantern involvement
Okay.
for me.
I just watched Batman versus Superman, the Ultimate Edition. Again, it's much better than the original, the theatrical version, just because it ties things up a bit. It just ties things together better. But all in all, Zack Snyder's approach to everything has been iffy going in so far. With Joss Whedon coming in and doing reshoots and recutting the film and stuff and putting it together in a different way and doing some rewrites here and there, I'm a little more optimistic. The fact that they got rid of the fact that Hans Zimmer isn't a part of it anymore, and this is a big thing for me because while Hans Zimmer is an incredible composer and his music he has done some really iconic pieces of music throughout his career. His stuff on the DC films has been nothing but noise, and there's no theme. Danny Elfman is doing the music for Justice League, and he has already guaranteed that we will hear the themes that we know for those characters in the soundtrack. So Batman will have Batman's theme. Superman will have Superman's theme.
I'm thrilled to hear that.
I think it's great.
I read an interesting article a few months back, and I posted it on the production page for Outer Rim. There was this guy writing about how temp tracks are a terrible thing in filmmaking because a filmmaker will get married to that temp track. They'll fall in love with that temp track. And so they sit down with their composer and they go, well, like this, but different. And so the composer...
And a lot of composers are pissed about it.
And composers hate that, but they'll try to follow through and do that, and then later on, that track gets used as a temp track, and the director falls in love with it and tells his other composer, "I like that, but a little different," and then that gets changed, and that begins to happen, and the whole piece becomes so diluted that eventually you just have buzzing noises. You have the music. You have the kind of music like you had in the last few Transformer films, where it was just all the way through it.
Now we want to cut short, so we can definitely keep this going next week because I think they're going to drop one more piece of music from Justice League. I know they've already released one piece. It's on YouTube now. Warner Brothers released it's called the Heroes theme, and it's out there. I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that they're thinking about dropping another piece of the soundtrack onto it. And music is a big part of these huge films, which is one of the complaints people have against Marvel, that none of their movies have themes. There's no theme for a character, but that's neither here nor there.
Avengers had a theme.
Yes, the Avengers had a theme, and they still do. They're the only actual theme in the Marvel Universe.
Technically, Iron Man does have a theme.
I like the music for Iron Man 3 the best, actually. Even though the movie was bleh. I like the music the best. But we'll talk about that next week, definitely. Because Thor is going to be the big thing for this.
We forgot a big piece of Star Wars news.
Okay, well, last call.
Ron Howard apparently reshot way more of the Han Solo movie than was expected. Up to 80% possibly.
At double the budget.
They're there's a lot riding on this movie. Wow.
I'll tell you what, though, Ron Howard, again, just because I think differently politically than the man, his stuff, he's an incredible director. He really is. And I have extreme faith in the man who was a good friend of George Lucas and actually worked with Lucas to do good things with a movie set in the Star Wars universe. That being said, if the movie sucks, I'm going to hunt him down and hurt him. I'm kidding. That wasn't really a threat. If anybody's out there, do not let that get out to Ron Howard. It's like, you got threatened on a podcast, man. No. I just don't like the title. Solo. A Star Wars story. Either way, I think Two Rogues would have been a better one. Well, last call.
Oh, we also know Hera survives to meet Han Solo.
Yes, we do. She survives all the way through the end of the Return of the Jedi.
Well, I got something.
Yes.
Speaking of Outer Rim, Sweepers is getting ready very soon to drop a trailer.
Yes, I know.
I know you know that, but these guys don't know that.
Because I have my hands in there. Well, I will have my hands in there somewhere.
So, yeah.
We'll see.
Yep. So, well, you've seen how our editor has been getting pestered.
Yes, I have seen it
in hysterical fashion. So,
but very soon there will be a trailer. We'll put it up on here.
Yep, pressure's on.
As long as there's no Meatloaf music in it.
Nope.
Okay, all good. What else was there? If you're not reading the Batman Dark Knight books right now, or the Metal Knight books right now, you should, just because they're outrageously weird and they're pretty fun.
Too weird.
They're all over the place. I still don't understand it. I'm hoping they'll tie it up a little bit neater for me.
Yeah, I'm not touching it.
There's a whole lot of Bruce Waynes. That's all I gotta say.
There's 3 Jokers apparently.
Yes.
Wait, what?
That's not new news.
They haven't touched on that yet, though. They haven't gone into that backstory yet. What was the other thing? Now, while I haven't watched the DC shows, I'm guessing Plastic Man got name dropped and Elongated Man has joined the show on The Flash. They're having horrible ratings over there. All the DC shows are down in the ratings.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, uh-oh was right. What was the other one? Was it New Mutants that has to look for a new place?
Yeah, Freeform apparently couldn't find room for them on their schedule.
Between all the other crap they have on that show, that station that nobody watches except for 12-year-old girls.
I don't even know if I get Freeform.
It used to be ABC Family.
Which used to be the Family Channel, which was Disney Family for a while. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's all over the place. What else was there? There was some casting news about the Titans, but I won't get into that because I don't have it up in front of me. I think that's about it, guys. Alistair, you can go back to Destiny.
I didn't leave.
That didn't surprise us.
I'm still playing.
I'm just running around the tower.
Hey,
See,
did you ever...
we were trying the raid, and then I went, wait a minute. Is today Wednesday?
Yes. Now, wait a second. Who said something about Kermit? Anybody said Kermit the Frog?
That's because I kind of sort of made a Kermit noise.
You did.
Sort of.
It's kind of a bad Kermit voice, but got to raid.
Woohoo! Hi ho, Kermit the Frog here. Now, hey, did you ever realize how much that John C. Reilly sounds like Moe from The Simpsons?
No plan.
Hey, Homer, how'd you do that? Yeah, I don't know. If you do that, I'm gonna stab you in the eye with this.
It's the same guy. Freaks me out. Okay.
Oh my God, you're right.
It is. Think about Wreck-It Ralph and then think about Moe.
Why are you so annoying?
It's the same guy.
That doesn't sound like Moe to me.
No, you're not Moe. Barney.
Barney, I meant, yes.
Barney the drunk.
Barney the drunk. And John C. Reilly. I wonder if that...
Yeah, because Moe Sislak sounds like
yeah,
this.
Moe.
My name is Barney.
You are, but I'm going to find you and cut your guts out with a spoon.
My name is Barney, and I'm an alcoholic.
Yeah, hey, Homer, how'd you do
Mr.
that?
Gumbel, this is a Girl Scout meeting. Is it? Or is it that you girls don't want to admit you got a problem?
Either way.
I'm looking for Amanda Hug and Kiss. Is there Amanda Hug and Kiss in here?
Listen, you little puke. When I find you, and I will find you, I'm going to carve my name on your back with a little ice pick. I don't know very many quotes, but apparently those
now, wait a
stuck
second.
out.
Now, Moe is done by Hank Azaria, right?
Yes.
And Krusty the Clown is done by oh God, why can't I think of his name now?
Same guy as Homer.
Dan Castellaneta.
Yes, because originally Krusty was supposed to be Homer in disguise.
Okay. Yes. Well, I just remember they were watching TV and there was a monkey on Krusty's back. He's like, "Why do they call this the urine monkey?" And he's like, "Oh." and then Bart's just like, that is funny for so many reasons.
Oh, God, no. I got to get another dry cleaner.
But so we'll be back next week after watching Thor. We might be back even sooner. There'll be Thor news. When does Agents come back? Is it January?
I'm not sure.
Because the Inhumans is basically it's like dying a slow death on ABC right now.
I haven't watched any of it.
Yeah, exactly. I watched the first episode and I walked away.
Some folks have watched it and said that it's actually not bad.
I'll watch it when it comes. I'll probably like rent it or something from the
I
library.
heard
when they get
the
it.
acting was very stilted.
Well, when you have one guy who literally is not allowed to speak.
Yeah, true.
It's not just that. Like, just from the pictures I've seen, it just looks bad.
Well, I can tell you right now, on a 4K television that's only 50 inches wide, 50 inches big, watching the premiere episode and seeing how horrific the effects were in that film, to think that was blown up on an IMAX screen.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It seems like they threw it together with whatever money they had sitting around, and it wasn't nearly enough.
Yeah, we got Inhumans when we could have gotten another Agent Carter. Oh, well. Trip lives. But
now I'm upset about Agent Carter.
I'm sorry. I ended it on a down note.
I that seriously, like, as much as I love AOS, I almost would have given up AOS to keep Agent Carter.
Hey, here's a mashup: Agent Carter of Mars.
Could be worse, Adam. We could have ended it on a brown note.
And
well, on that note, we will be back next week. Same bad time, same bad channel. Ladies and gentlemen, there's no ladies.
Don't you mean
gentlemen
same
and gentlemen?
Time, same geek channel.
Same geek time, same.
Hey, there's some nerd girls out there listening. Come on.
We have none in here.
Nerd girls are awesome.
We should at least have, one. We need to diversify a bit.
Yes.
We're taking submissions. And by submissions, we just show up.
Our token nerd girl, she's sleeping because she gets up at 5 in the morning. So
we will have to find a female panelist.
We'd always try to see if Nillian would show up, but Nillian is like a female version of Trekkie, so that's not going to happen.
Well, Jody would love to, but she has to get up too early. That's the problem.
Well, that's why we have to cut the show short, even though we're already 20 minutes past what I wanted to go. Either way, because we just ramble. Oh my God, stop rambling.
Good night, folks.
Good night, folks.
Good night, folks.
We're out. And remember, the name of this episode is Furries or Politicians.
Furry politicians.
Furry politicians. Newt Gingrich in a panda costume.
Why did you do that?
Dun, 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 dun.
What the hell is wrong with you?
A lot, apparently.
And there goes my mouse. My mouse won't work. Hold on a second.
I've got control.
Terrible. You broke the mouse.
It did. Nothing's working. I'm telling you, I'm having major issues with my computer.
Well, good thing you're going to turn in early. You can just shut everything off, and then hopefully it'll be fine tomorrow.
What in the heck?
Really?
He's literally trying to close it down, and it's not letting
I cannot close anything down. Here we go. Ready? And we're out. Sorry, folks. Is that brown note?
For the love of God, guys.
Thanks
We're
for joining
professionals.
us at the Geek EZ. We have some big changes coming down the road, but to find out about them, you have to hit that subscribe button. You could also follow us on Facebook and Twitter to find out what's new and what's coming down the road. So do us a favor, subscribe.